When you think about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Bruce Banner has always been one of the core figures. He was there almost from the very beginning, debuting way back in 2008's The Incredible Hulk. That version of the Hulk feels like a lifetime ago, partly because the role was played by Edward Norton at the time. A few years later, Mark Ruffalo took over, starting with the Avengers in 2012, and he's been the face of the character ever since. Even though Hulk has never had a second solo movie, Ruffalo's take became central to the entire Infinity Saga and beyond, with his story weaving through Avengers Age of Ultron, Thor Ragnarok, Avengers Endgame, and more recent appearances. The really exciting part now is that the MCU seems to be gearing up for Hulk's most famous comic book storyline, World War Hulk. Fans have been talking about this for years, and the rumors keep getting louder. It feels like Marvel has been planting seeds for it in different corners of the universe, and the timing might finally be right. Because Hulk is one of the few original Avengers still around in the multiverse saga, he has the weight and history to carry such a massive storyline. It's funny how The Incredible Hulk, which wasn't exactly a fan favorite when it came out, has aged into one of the most important Phase 1 movies. That's because Marvel has started bringing back characters from it in big ways. Abomination returned in both Shang-Chi and She-Hulk. The leader, who was teased at the end of Norton's Hulk film, is about to show up as the villain in Captain America: Brave New World. And now Red Hulk, another classic comic character, has entered the MCU. So all of those threads naturally point towards something bigger for Bruce Banner and his world. World War Hulk has always been one of the most wanted projects among fans, and the comics themselves are legendary. The basic storyline begins with Planet Hulk, which was partly adapted into Thor Ragnarok, where Hulk is stuck fighting as a gladiator on Sakaar. After the events of that comic, Hulk comes back to Earth angrier than ever, leading directly into World War Hulk. Mark Ruffalo himself has mentioned more than once how much he'd love to explore that arc, and Marvel has dropped Easter eggs over the years that make it feel like it's just waiting for the right moment. The main issue has always been rights. Universal has technically owned the distribution rights to Hulk solo films since the 1990s, which is why Marvel could only use Hulk in team-up projects like The Avengers, Ragnarok, or She-Hulk. They weren't free to make standalone Hulk films. That problem has been one of the biggest barriers to adapting something like World War Hulk, which is essentially a Hulk solo story. But the workaround could be making it more of an ensemble project, something closer to Captain America: Civil War, where the main focus is Hulk, but a bunch of other heroes are along for the ride. Now, adapting World War Hulk for the MCU wouldn't be as straightforward as just lifting the comic story. Because the MCU has already changed some of the major setups, Marvel would have to get creative. In the comics, Hulk is banished by the Illuminati, a secret group of heroes like Iron Man, Doctor Strange, and Black Bolt. That exile is what pushes him into space, which kicks off Planet Hulk. But in the MCU, the Illuminati we met in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness were from another universe, and they're dead. So it's hard to imagine them banishing Hulk in the sacred timeline. Sakaar is another big piece of the puzzle. Thor Ragnarok leaned into the planet's gladiator battles and gave us a taste of Planet Hulk, but it skipped most of the story's emotional weight. The comics show Hulk building a family, finding love, and then losing it all when Sakaar is destroyed. That tragedy fuels his anger and sparks his war against Earth's heroes. Since Ragnarok left those details out, Marvel would need another way to push him to that breaking point. Then there's Red Hulk. In the comics, he wasn't around during World War Hulk but came into play afterward. Since the MCU already has Red Hulk introduced, that changes the dynamic. It could actually work in Marvel's favor because it gives them another powerful Hulk-like figure to bounce off Banner's story. Marvel has already started teasing the groundwork. She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, dropped some pretty direct hints. In the first episode, a Sakarian ship appears, leading Bruce to say he has some things to take care of before leaving Earth again. Later, the series introduced Scar, Hulk's son, who is an important part of the World War Hulk storyline in the comics. All of these little pieces feel intentional, like Marvel is nudging fans toward expecting something big down the road. Ruffalo himself has teased this. He mentioned that Hulk's time on Sakaar has a lot of unexplored stories that could easily tie into World War Hulk. While he was careful not to reveal much, his comments sounded like Marvel has at least considered filling in those blanks. And Jessica Gao, the head writer of She-Hulk, admitted that they left the door wide open on purpose so Marvel could pick up the story later if they wanted to. The timing is still the tricky part. Looking at the Multiverse Saga schedule, Phase 6 has huge gaps. Between Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, there's only one confirmed movie, Spider-Man 4. That seems like a perfect place for World War Hulk to fit if Marvel wants to slide it in. But realistically, the story is so massive that it might make more sense after Secret Wars. If they rush it, it could distract from the Avengers films, which are supposed to be the culmination of the Multiverse Saga. World War Hulk is the kind of storyline that could fuel its own saga, especially since it brings in not just Hulk, but also the Avengers, the X-Men, and even the Inhumans. That's one of the challenges too. Without mutants firmly established in the MCU, the story might feel incomplete. So Marvel might hold off until after the X-Men are properly introduced. If the movie does happen, the cast is another exciting aspect. Obviously, Mark Ruffalo would return as Bruce Banner, and Jennifer Walters from She-Hulk seems like a lock too. Scar, Banner's son, has to play a role, since his whole arc in the comics ties directly into his father's rage. Red Hulk would almost certainly be included as well, given his comic history and his new place in the MCU. There's also room for the wider Marvel roster. Doctor Strange and Reed Richards, both members of the Illuminati in the comics, could show up. The Fantastic Four film is coming soon, so Richards will already be around. Iron Man is gone, of course, which makes adapting parts of the comic tricky, but Marvel has proven they can reshape stories when necessary. Black Bolt is another question mark, but he hasn't been introduced in the sacred timeline yet. When you look at the World War Hulk comic from 2007, the scale is enormous. Hulk comes back to Earth after being tricked into space, and he's more powerful and more furious than ever. He beats Black Bolt on the moon, wipes the floor with the X-Men, and takes on the Avengers and the Fantastic Four. His rampage brings him to the brink of destroying New York, though he stops short of killing innocent people. The final showdown with Sentry is one of the most brutal in Marvel Comics, and it ends with both heroes collapsing from exhaustion. Even though Kevin Feige once suggested there wouldn't be another solo Hulk film, World War Hulk doesn't have to be framed as one. Like Civil War, it could work as an ensemble piece, giving plenty of heroes screen time while keeping Hulk at the heart of the conflict. This structure would also help avoid the rights complications with Universal. Marvel has been laying the groundwork for years with Red Hulk, the Leader, and Scar, and the demand among fans is undeniable. It may take time, especially with the X-Men's arrival still pending, but World War Hulk feels inevitable. When it does happen, it could redefine the MCU scope and ambition. Well, that's it for today. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, because we'll be covering more updates on this soon and other exciting upcoming movies and series. We'll see you next time.